Press the bell icon on YouTube and don't miss another update.
Once the Election Commission of India announced its dates for the 2019 elections, politicians from across the spectrum came out and called upon India's voters to turn out in large numbers. Prime Minister Modi even tweeted that a high turnout augurs well for our democracy. Now, we've been analysing data to understand what are the factors that really influence voter turnout in India. In other words, what influences who comes out to vote and why? Last week we showed that social pressures, organizational networks and constituency size play a big role in influencing voter turnout. Today we look at two other factors, literacy levels and urbanization. Now, political observers have long believed it to be a stated truth that in India, first, people who are less literate turn out to vote in larger numbers than those who are more literate, and people who live in villages turn out to vote in larger numbers than those living in towns and cities. The main reason given for both these arguments is similar, that people living in villages and people who are less literate are more likely to be poorer and hence more dependent on the state for their economic well-being. And since they're more dependent on the state for their well-being, they're more incentivized to come out and vote because the vote has a bigger impact on their immediate life. Now, to test these arguments, we looked at polling station data from almost 3 lakh villages across 11 states. So what does the data say? Let's first take up literacy. What we found is that for the 2014 elections, areas having lower literacy and areas having high literacy saw almost the same turnout across the country. When we repeated this analysis for the 2009 elections, we in fact found a small effect in the opposite direction to what political observers had believed all along. So we found areas having high literacy having slightly higher turnout than areas having lower literacy. Now let's talk about urbanization. What we found looking at data for both 2009 and 2014 elections is that broadly, voter turnout is similar for villages, towns and cities. The only real difference comes from the major cities, which see far lower turnout. So while it is indeed true that turnout in villages is slightly higher than turnout in urban areas, it appears the real difference is arising from far lower turnout in larger cities, those having populations of over 10 lakhs, and not from most cities and towns across the country. So what does this tell us? These findings suggest that the impact of overall literacy levels and urbanization on voter turnout in India is far more nuanced than political observers have long believed. Thank you.